Charles Darwin is credited with the development of the theory of evolution by natural selection and controversially proposed that humans and apes evolved from a common ancestor. He wrote two famous books, The Origin of Species and The Descent of Man. In 1831, he set sail from England and in 1835 made a 5-week stop at the Galapagos Islands, which are islands 600 miles off the coast of Ecuador. He studied finches, tortoises and mockingbirds. During his time at the Galapagos Islands, he noticed that finches were different on the islands than the ones found on mainland Ecuador. For example, their beaks were different depending on the local food source. Darwin concluded that because the islands were so far from mainland, the finches that had arrived there had changed over time. Evolution is the process of change of an organism over time. We can explain evolution using natural selection. The stages of natural selection include: there's variation within a species caused by mutation. Individuals with characteristics most suited to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. This is known as the survival of the fittest, and these genes are passed to the next generation. Those that are poorly adapted to their environment are less likely to survive, hence they are less likely to reproduce. Therefore, those genes that make the organism less adapted to the environment reduce in the population. Given time, a species will gradually evolve with prominent desirable and advantageous characteristics. A key explanation showing natural selection is the example of the peppered moth. During the Industrial Revolution, pollution killed lichens that grew on the tree barks. In addition, the soot from factories made the tree's barks darker. Variation within the moth species meant that some moths were peppered whereas others were black. The darker moths were better camouflaged and so they were not eaten by predators and therefore survived, passing their alleles to the next moth generation. The alleles for the colour black became dominant within the moth population over time. A more dangerous example of natural selection can be seen with antibiotic resistance. The World Health Organization has said antibiotic resistance is one of the biggest threats to global health, food security and development today. There's a growing list of diseases such as pneumonia, tuberculosis, blood poisoning, gonorrhea, that are becoming increasingly difficult to treat by routine antibiotics. Resistance to antibiotics could be used as an example to explain natural selection. In step 1, variation is caused due to a mutation in the bacteria population which produces resistance to antibiotics. Bacteria that do not carry the mutation will die as an antibiotic is applied to them, leaving behind only bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria can reproduce with less competition from non-resistant bacteria strains. The genes from the antibiotic-resistant bacteria are passed to their offspring. Over time, the whole population of bacteria will become resistant to antibiotics. Hi, my name is Mr. Science, aka Salim. If you're new to the channel, please remember to like and subscribe. And for more teaching resources, you can visit my website at www.mrscience.co.uk.